Have you ever reached out to a developer and asked them about porting a game to your platform of choice? I have once. Not so many years ago, a good friend of mine introduced me to this beautiful 2D action platformer called Dust, and I wanted to play it and cover it. So I reached out to its creator and asked if they could do a PlayStation Vita port. Unfortunately, that wasn't in the cards at the time, but good things come to those who wait. Today, that very game has released into the handheld world through the Nintendo Switch. An opportunity smiled upon me to be able to cover it. Here is my review of Dust, an Elysian tale for the Nintendo Switch. The story of Dust is centered around a young warrior named Dust, someone who awakens in the middle of a forest with no memory of who he is or how he got there, only that he wakes up to find a magical sword flying towards him along with its guardian, a Nimbat named Fidget. Together, the three of them set out on a journey to discover who Dust is and find out where his destiny lies in the world. I find the story aspect of this game very RPG-like, with the whole amnesiac protagonist traveling the world to figure out who he is. But the game's got a lot of other charm as well. Amongst all the seriousness of a lot of the world's problems that you discover on your journey, Fidget provides a lot of entertainment and comedy as a sort of main character but also comic relief character. Whenever she chimes in a main quest or side quest scene, she throws in a lot of comedy, a lot of sarcasm, and a lot of references to other video games. Her witty comments always had me laughing and entertained. So if you like a game that can be serious and emotional, but also fun and entertaining at the same time, this game's plot is right up your alley. When it comes to gameplay, Dust is like a 2D Metroidvania game, with lots of combat and some RPG elements thrown into the mix. As you play through the game, you're going to be navigating 2D areas, fighting enemies, and doing lots of exploration as you gain new abilities to explore more of the map. The elements that make this a little bit different than other Metroidvania games are how you go through the levels and the RPG elements. When I think of a Metroidvania game, I think of a game that's all one giant 2D set of worlds, with lots of backtracking involved when you gain new abilities. Dust makes it a little easier, as that each individual dungeon, town, or area is its own level that you can access on a point-to-point map. Although it feels like you're going through one giant world, you have the option of exiting an area through a save points teleport option, and if you need to go back to an original area, you just go to your point-to-point map and you can go straight there, making it far less of a journey of backtracking to go back and explore those hidden spots. Now, progression in the game is relatively linear as far as where you're going through each area, but the RPG elements help keep this more open. In most chapters, you always unlock a new hub town full of NPCs that you can talk to give you side missions. And some of these side missions have their own dungeons that they take place in, giving you a few exclusive areas that you can go and explore if you don't want to just do the main quest and nothing else. It is worth noting that some of the more comical and cute parts of the story don't happen on the main quest, but do happen on all of these side missions. Now let's talk about the actual gameplay. You've got all of these 2D areas with lots of platforms, lots of enemies to fight, and a few light puzzles to solve in the form of leading bombs through areas past enemies and obstacles to be able to open up new paths. The big thing you're going to be doing in all of these areas though is combat, because there are lots of enemies in the game, and whenever you go into an area with a lot of enemies, the exits will be blocked until you clear out that room, or at least that part of the room, of its enemies. When you're fighting enemies, it feels like a hack and slash game. You've got a huge sword that you can perform various combos with the Y and X buttons. But despite the fact that the game even mocks itself for being a button masher, there's a lot more to it than that. You've got some pretty extensive and strategic combos that you have to perform to parry certain enemies and bosses in projectile team-based attacks. Dust and Fidget can use a Dust Storm ability along with Fidget's projectiles to create giant AoE magic-based attacks, useful not only for some puzzles towards the end of the game, but also clearing out the screen of enemies very quickly when you get overwhelmed. This gives you a few different choices when you're going through battles, so you're not just mashing the Y button for a basic combo whenever you see any enemies. Now when you finish battle, some more of the RPG elements start to show themselves. You gain experience, material, and money whenever you defeat enemies or accept and complete quests. In RPG fashion, experience lets you level up and allocate points to various skills and stats, and you can enhance stats further by using all of the materials to synthesize new equipment, from blueprints that are dropped from enemies and found in hidden chests when you gain new abilities to access new areas. All of this comes together pretty well for the game, and despite the fact that it is very RPG-like, this isn't going to be a game that's going to be using dozens upon dozens upon dozens of hours to clear the story. I mostly played on the normal difficulty, and I did a few side quests here and there, but nowhere near all of them, and I cleared the main story in a little over 8 hours. I'd say depending on how much of a completionist you are, you're going to be spending at least 8 to 10 hours on this game. And if you are a completionist, the game has in-game achievements and trophies, and I would easily clock that at around 15 to 20 hours if you want to unlock that quote-unquote platinum. As far as post-game is concerned, the only thing you're going to be doing after you beat the game is catch up on side quests and do those achievements. There's no New Game Plus, and there's no post-game exclusive content. Now let's dive into presentation. Graphically, the game looks beautiful. Every time I look at this game, I completely forget that this game was designed by one person and one person alone. The game's world is hand-drawn and looks beautiful, almost like Odin's Sphere, but with a little more detail and a little more anime on the actual character designs. Things look clear and pristine, whether you're playing it in docked mode or handheld mode, and the performance stays pretty much perfect for almost the entire journey. There are a couple very, very small frame rate hiccups here and there, but they're not really that noticeable. There are, however, two things that we do need to talk about regarding presentation. There is an audio glitch right now and an audio imbalance in the game. The introduction doesn't have voice acting when it should, and there are a lot of areas where the voice volume levels change and become dramatically lower than they're supposed to be. Thankfully, there's already a patch in certification for this, so it should only be a few days before that is fixed. The other thing is a crashing issue that I encountered during a certain portion of the game. When a certain story chapter tried to load itself, it would crash on me every single time. Reloading the save didn't help, going to a different area didn't help, reinstalling the game didn't help. The only thing that got me past it was reverting to a previous save file, and when I got back to that scene, it played flawlessly. It is still unknown if this is a widespread issue or if it's something that just happened to me, but I'd advise players to make multiple save data every once in a while just in case. Now let's dive into battery life. This is another game that I was pretty pleasantly surprised with. Here are my battery times, from 100% to 0%. Maximum brightness with the Wi-Fi on, 3 hours and 24 minutes. Maximum brightness with the Wi-Fi off, 3 hours and 50 minutes. Lower brightness with the Wi-Fi on, 4 hours and 31 minutes. Lower brightness with the Wi-Fi off, 4 hours and 42 minutes. So you're going to get quite a bit of time out of this game. Now, in conclusion, Dust is a beautiful platformer that's honestly hard to tell that it wasn't made by a large gaming company with how it looks and the quality of its voice acting. Now there are some hiccups in the Switch version right now with some audio imbalancing and the possible crashing issue that I encountered. But anybody who likes 2D platformers and comedy in their games really can't go wrong here. Reviews to Go rates Dust an Elysian Tale for the Nintendo Switch an 8 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below or head to the website at reviewstogo.com. Hey there guys, before I go, I want to thank everybody who's donated both to me and my Patreon campaign. Your donations quickly got the website back up on its feet and got me out of a sticky financial situation. Thanks to all who have donated, and if you'd like to donate, just head over to patreon.com/reviewstogo. Thanks again for watching, have a nice day.